the new god of wealth, the new gods of wealth, the new god of wealth, the new goddess of wealth, the new goddesses of wealth, the new goddess of wealth, the old god of wealth, the old gods of wealth, the old god of wealth, the old goddess of wealth, the old goddesses of wealth, the old goddess of wealth, the greater god of wealth, the greater gods of wealth, the greater god of wealth, the greater goddess of wealth, the greater goddesses of wealth, the greater goddess of wealth, the lesser god of wealth, the lesser gods of wealth, the lesser god of wealth, the lesser goddess of wealth, the lesser goddesses of wealth, the lesser goddess of wealth, the higher god of wealth, the higher gods of wealth, the higher god of wealth, the higher goddess of wealth, the higher goddesses of wealth, the higher goddess of wealth, the lower god of wealth, the lower gods of wealth, the lower god of wealth, the lower goddess of wealth, the lower goddesses of wealth, the lower goddess of wealth, the greater spirit of wealth, the greater spirits of wealth, the greater spirit of wealth, the lesser spirit of wealth, the lesser spirits of wealth, the lesser spirit of wealth, the higher spirit of wealth, the higher spirits of wealth, the higher spirit of wealth, the lower spirit of wealth, the lower spirits of wealth, the lower spirit of wealth, the major god of wealth, the major gods of wealth, the major god of wealth, the major goddess of wealth, the major goddesses of wealth, the major goddess of wealth, the minor god of wealth, the minor gods of wealth, the minor god of wealth, the minor goddess of wealth, the minor goddesses of wealth, the minor goddess of wealth, the superior god of wealth, the superior gods of wealth, the superior god of wealth, the superior goddess of wealth, the superior goddesses of wealth, the superior goddess of wealth, the inferior god of wealth, the inferior gods of wealth, the inferior god of wealth, the inferior goddess of wealth, the inferior goddesses of wealth, the inferior goddess of wealth, the ancestor god of wealth, the ancestor gods of wealth, the ancestor god of wealth, the ancestor goddess of wealth, the ancestor goddesses of wealth, the ancestor goddess of wealth, the ascendant god of wealth, the ascendant gods of wealth, the ascendant god of wealth, the ascendant goddess of wealth, the ascendant goddesses of wealth, the ascendant goddess of wealth, the descendant god of wealth, the descendant gods of wealth, the descendant god of wealth, the descendant goddess of wealth, the descendant goddesses of wealth, the descendant goddess of wealth, the transcendent god of wealth, the transcendent gods of wealth, the transcendent god of wealth, the transcendent goddess of wealth, the transcendent goddesses of wealth, the transcendent goddess of wealth, the past god of wealth, the past gods of wealth, the past god of wealth, the past goddess of wealth, the past goddesses of wealth, the past goddess of wealth, the present god of wealth, the present gods of wealth, the present god of wealth, the present goddess of wealth, the present goddesses of wealth, the present goddess of wealth, the future god of wealth, the future gods of wealth, the future god of wealth, the future goddess of wealth, the future goddesses of wealth, the future goddess of wealth, the authentic god of wealth, the authentic gods of wealth, the authentic god of wealth, the authentic goddess of wealth, the authentic goddesses of wealth, the authentic goddess of wealth, the synthetic god of wealth, the synthetic gods of wealth, the synthetic god of wealth, the synthetic goddess of wealth, the synthetic goddesses of wealth, the synthetic goddess of wealth, the progressive god of wealth, the progressive gods of wealth, the progressive god of wealth, the progressive goddess of wealth, the progressive goddesses of wealth, the progressive goddess of wealth, the regressive god of wealth, the regressive gods of wealth, the regressive god of wealth, the regressive goddess of wealth, the regressive goddesses of wealth, the regressive goddess of wealth, the ordinary god of wealth, the ordinary gods of wealth, the ordinary god of wealth, the ordinary goddess of wealth, the ordinary goddesses of wealth, the ordinary goddess of wealth, the extraordinary God of wealth, the extraordinary gods of wealth, the extraordinary God of wealth, the extraordinary goddess of wealth, the extraordinary goddesses of wealth, the extraordinary goddess of wealth, the static God of wealth, the static gods of wealth, the static God of wealth, the static goddess of wealth, the static goddesses of wealth, the static goddess of wealth, the dynamic God of wealth, the dynamic gods of wealth, the dynamic God of wealth, the dynamic goddess of wealth, the dynamic goddesses of wealth, the dynamic goddess of wealth, the land God of wealth, the land gods of wealth, the land God of wealth, the land goddess of wealth, the land goddesses of wealth, the land goddess of wealth, the sea God of wealth, the sea gods of wealth, the sea God of wealth, the sea goddess of wealth, the sea goddesses of wealth, the sea goddess of wealth, the sky God of wealth, the sky gods of wealth, the sky God of wealth, the sky goddess of wealth, the sky goddesses of wealth, the sky goddess of wealth, the God of wealth, the gods of wealth, the God of wealth, the goddess of wealth, the goddesses of wealth, the goddess of wealth, the half God of wealth, the half gods of wealth, the half God of wealth, the half goddess of wealth, the half goddesses of wealth, the half goddess of wealth, the vessel of wealth, the vessels of wealth, the vessel of wealth, the name of wealth, the names of wealth, the name of wealth, the person of wealth, the persons of wealth, the person of wealth, the persona of wealth, the personas of wealth, the persona of wealth, the personage of wealth, the personages of wealth, the personage of wealth, the personality of wealth, the personalities of wealth, the personality of wealth, the personification of wealth, the personifications of wealth, the personification of wealth, the image of wealth, the images of wealth, the image of wealth, the imagination of wealth, the imaginations of wealth, the imagination of wealth, the belief of wealth, the beliefs of wealth, the belief of wealth, the thought of wealth, the thoughts of wealth, the thought of wealth, the word of wealth, the words of wealth, the word of wealth, the action of wealth, the actions of wealth, the action of wealth, the reaction of wealth, the reactions of wealth, the reaction of wealth, the feeling of wealth, the feelings of wealth, the feeling of wealth, the situation of wealth, the situations of wealth, the situation of wealth, the circumstance of wealth, the circumstances of wealth, the circumstance of wealth, the environment of wealth, the environments of wealth, the environment of wealth, the relationship of wealth, the relationships of wealth, the relationship of wealth, the number of wealth, the numbers of wealth, the number of wealth, the formula of wealth, the formulas of wealth, the formula of wealth, the equation of wealth, the equations of wealth, the equation of wealth, the theory of wealth, the theories of wealth, the theory of wealth, the symbol of wealth, the symbols of wealth, the symbol of wealth, the color of wealth, the colors of wealth, the color of wealth, the thing of wealth, the things of wealth, the thing of wealth, the way of wealth, the ways of wealth, the way of wealth, the place of wealth, the places of wealth, the place of wealth, the time of wealth, the times of wealth, the time of wealth, the event of wealth, the events of wealth, the event of wealth, the result of wealth, the results of wealth, the result of wealth, the crown of wealth, the crowns of wealth, the crown of wealth, the throne of wealth, the thrones of wealth, the throne of wealth, the wealth king, the wealth kings, the wealth kingdom, the wealth kingdoms, the wealth king subject, the wealth king subjects, the wealth king's dominion, the wealth king's dominions, the kingdom of wealth, the kingdoms of wealth, the kingdom of wealth, the wealth queen, the wealth queens, the wealth queendom, the wealth queendoms, the wealth queen's subject, the wealth queen's subjects, the wealth queen's dominion, the wealth queen's dominions, the queendom of wealth, the queendoms of wealth, the queendom of wealth, the wealth prince, the wealth princes, the wealth princedom, the wealth princedoms, the wealth prince's subject, the wealth prince's subjects, the wealth prince's dominion, the wealth prince's dominions, the princedom of wealth, the princedoms of wealth, the princedom of wealth, the wealth princess, the wealth princesses, the wealth princessdom, the wealth princessdoms, the wealth princess's subject, the wealth princess's subjects, the wealth princess's dominion, the wealth princess's dominions, the princessdom of wealth, the princessdoms of wealth, the princessdom of wealth, the lord of wealth, the lords of wealth, the lord of wealth, the lordess of wealth, the lordesses of wealth, the lordess of wealth, the priest of wealth, the priests of wealth, the priest of wealth, the priestess of wealth, the priestesses of wealth, the priestess of wealth, the ritual of wealth, the rituals of wealth, the ritual of wealth, the shrine of wealth, the shrines of wealth, the shrine of wealth, the temple of wealth, the temples of wealth, the temple of wealth, the leader of wealth, the leaders of wealth, the leader of wealth, the follower of wealth, the followers of wealth, the follower of wealth, the natural substance of wealth, the natural substances of wealth, the natural substance of wealth, the supernatural substance of wealth, the supernatural substances of wealth, the supernatural substance of wealth, the temporal substance of wealth, the temporal substances of wealth, the temporal substance of wealth, the spiritual substance of wealth, the spiritual substances of wealth, the spiritual substance of wealth, the natural form of wealth, the natural forms of wealth, the natural form of wealth, the supernatural form of wealth, the supernatural forms of wealth, the supernatural form of wealth, the temporal form of wealth, the temporal forms of wealth, the temporal form of wealth, the spiritual form of wealth, the spiritual forms of wealth, the spiritual form of wealth, the age of wealth, the ages of wealth, the age of wealth, the era of wealth, the heiress of wealth, the era of wealth, the awakener of wealth, the awakeners of wealth, the awakener of wealth, the awakening of wealth, the awakenings of wealth, the awakening of wealth, the realm of wealth, the realms of wealth, the realm of wealth, the dimension of wealth, the dimensions of wealth, the dimension of wealth, the zone of wealth, the zones of wealth, the zone of wealth, the frequency of wealth, the frequencies of wealth, the frequency of wealth, the century of wealth, the centuries of wealth, the century of wealth, the millennium of wealth, the millenniums of wealth, the millennium of wealth, the purpose of wealth, the purposes of wealth, the purpose of wealth, the meaning of wealth, the meanings of wealth, the meaning of wealth, the culture of wealth, the cultures of wealth, the culture of wealth, the demonstrator of wealth, the demonstrators of wealth, the demonstrator of wealth, the demonstration of wealth, the demonstrations of wealth, the demonstration of wealth, the manifester of wealth, the manifestors of wealth, the manifester of wealth, the manifestation of wealth, the manifestations of wealth, the manifestation of wealth, the presence of wealth, the presences of wealth, the presence of wealth, the glow of wealth, the glows of wealth, the glow of wealth, the goal of wealth, the goals of wealth, the goal of wealth, the plan of wealth, the plans of wealth, the plan of wealth, the book of wealth, the books of wealth, the book of wealth, the philosopher of wealth, the philosophers of wealth, the philosopher of wealth, the philosophy of wealth, the philosophies of wealth, the philosophy of wealth, the releaser of wealth, the releasers of wealth, the releaser of wealth, the release of wealth, the releases of wealth, the release of wealth, the variable of wealth, the variables of wealth, the variable of wealth, the cause of wealth, the causes of wealth, the cause of wealth, the effect of wealth, the effects of wealth, the effect of wealth, the journey of wealth, the journeys of wealth, the journey of wealth, the emergence of wealth, the emergences of wealth, the emergence of wealth, the source of wealth, the sources of wealth, the source of wealth, the originator of wealth, the originators of wealth, the originator of wealth, the origin of wealth, the origins of wealth, the origin of wealth, the forefather of wealth, the forefathers of wealth, the forefather of wealth, the foremother of wealth, the foremothers of wealth, the foremother of wealth, the ancestor of wealth, the ancestors of wealth, the ancestor of wealth, the descendant of wealth, the descendants of wealth, the descendant of wealth, the lineage of wealth, the lineages of wealth, the lineage of wealth, the heritage of wealth, the heritages of wealth, the heritage of wealth, the heir of wealth, the heirs of wealth, the heir of wealth, the co-heir of wealth, the co-heirs of wealth, the co-heir of wealth, the joint heir of wealth, the joint heirs of wealth, the joint heir of wealth, the dynasty of wealth, the dynasties of wealth, the dynasty of wealth, the force of wealth, the forces of wealth, the force of wealth, the law of wealth, the laws of wealth, the law of wealth, the pact of wealth, the pacts of wealth, the pact of wealth, the game of wealth, the games of wealth, the game of wealth, the mask of wealth, the masks of wealth, the mask of wealth, the armor of wealth, the armors of wealth, the armor of wealth, the sword of wealth, the swords of wealth, the sword of wealth, the shield of wealth, the shields of wealth, the shield of wealth, the force shield of wealth, the force shields of wealth, the force shield of wealth, the armored force shield of wealth, the armored force shields of wealth, the armored force shield of wealth, the champion of wealth, the champions of wealth, the champion of wealth, the guardian of wealth, the guardians of wealth, the guardian of wealth, the defender of wealth, the defenders of wealth, the defender of wealth, the protector of wealth, the protectors of wealth, the protector of wealth, the chant of wealth, the chants of wealth, the chant of wealth, the shape of wealth, the shapes of wealth, the shape of wealth, the cube of wealth, the cubes of wealth, the cube of wealth, the cuboid of wealth, the cuboids of wealth, the cuboid of wealth, the sphere of wealth, the spheres of wealth, the sphere of wealth, the spheroid of wealth, the spheroids of wealth, the spheroid of wealth, the prism of wealth, the prisms of wealth, the prism of wealth, the pyramid of wealth, the pyramids of wealth, the pyramid of wealth, the cylinder of wealth, the cylinders of wealth, the cylinder of wealth, the cone of wealth, the cones of wealth, the cone of wealth, the triangle of wealth, the triangles of wealth, the triangle of wealth, the circle of wealth, the circles of wealth, the circle of wealth, the semicircle of wealth, the semicircles of wealth, the semicircle of wealth, the square of wealth, the squares of wealth, the square of wealth, the rectangle of wealth, the rectangles of wealth, the rectangle of wealth, the parallelogram of wealth, the parallelograms of wealth, the parallelogram of wealth, the rhombus of wealth, the rhombuses of wealth, the rhombus of wealth, the trapezoid of wealth, the trapezoids of wealth, the trapezoid of wealth, the polygon of wealth, the polygons of wealth, the polygon of wealth, the pentagon of wealth, the pentagons of wealth, the pentagon of wealth, the hexagon of wealth, the hexagons of wealth, the hexagon of wealth, the septagon of wealth, the septagons of wealth, the septagon of wealth, the octagon of wealth, the octagons of wealth, the octagon of wealth, the nonagon of wealth, the nonagons of wealth, the nonagon of wealth, the decagon of wealth, the decagons of wealth, the decagon of wealth, the evolution of wealth, the evolutions of wealth, the evolution of wealth, the revolution of wealth, the revolutions of wealth, the revolution of wealth, the elemental art of wealth, the elemental arts of wealth, the elemental art of wealth, the elemental science of wealth, The elemental sciences of wealth. The elemental science of wealth. The elemental principle of wealth. The elemental principles of wealth. The elemental principle of wealth. The elemental technology of wealth. The elemental technologies of wealth. The elemental technology of wealth. The low elemental art of wealth. The low elemental arts of wealth. The low elemental art of wealth. The low elemental science of wealth. The low elemental sciences of wealth. The low elemental science of wealth. The low elemental principle of wealth. The low elemental principles of wealth. The low elemental principle of wealth. The low elemental technology of wealth. The low elemental technologies of wealth. The low elemental technology of wealth. The high elemental art of wealth. The high elemental arts of wealth. The high elemental art of wealth. The high elemental science of wealth. The high elemental sciences of wealth. The high elemental science of wealth. The high elemental principle of wealth. The high elemental principles of wealth. The high elemental principle of wealth. The high elemental technology of wealth. The high elemental technologies of wealth. The high elemental technology of wealth. The agent of wealth. The agents of wealth. The agent of wealth. The agency of wealth. The agencies of wealth. The agency of wealth. The amplifier of wealth. The amplifiers of wealth. The amplifier of wealth. The amplification of wealth. The amplifications of wealth. The amplification of wealth. The enhancer of wealth. The enhancers of wealth. The enhancer of wealth. The enhancement of wealth. The enhancements of wealth. The enhancement of wealth. The magnifier of wealth. The magnifiers of wealth. The magnifier of wealth. The magnification of wealth. The magnifications of wealth. The magnification of wealth. The influencer of wealth. The influencers of wealth. The influencer of wealth. The influence of wealth. The influences of wealth. The influence of wealth. The emanator of wealth. The emanators of wealth. The emanator of wealth. The emanation of wealth. The emanations of wealth. The emanation of wealth. The converger of wealth. The convergers of wealth. The converger of wealth. The convergence of wealth. The convergences of wealth. The convergence of wealth. The aura of wealth. The auras of wealth. The aura of wealth. The impression of wealth. The impressions of wealth. The impression of wealth. The intelligence of wealth. The intelligences of wealth. The intelligence of wealth. The sophistication of wealth. The sophistications of wealth. The sophistication of wealth. The genius of wealth. The geniuses of wealth. The genius of wealth. The polymath of wealth. The polymaths of wealth. The polymath of wealth. The psychic of wealth. The psychics of wealth. The psychic of wealth. The knowledge of wealth. The knowledges of wealth. The knowledge of wealth. The understanding of wealth. The understandings of wealth. The understanding of wealth. The wisdom of wealth. The wisdoms of wealth. The wisdom of wealth. The secret of wealth. The secrets of wealth. The secret of wealth. The mystery of wealth. The mysteries of wealth. The mystery of wealth. The revelation of wealth. The revelations of wealth. The revelation of wealth. The tactic of wealth. The tactics of wealth. The tactic of wealth. The strategy of wealth. The strategies of wealth. The strategy of wealth. The strength of wealth. The strengths of wealth. The strength of wealth. The might of wealth. The might of wealth. The might of wealth. The power of wealth. The powers of wealth. The power of wealth. The authority of wealth. The authorities of wealth. The authority of wealth. The dominion of wealth. The dominions of wealth. The dominion of wealth. The rhythm of wealth. The rhythms of wealth. The rhythm of wealth. The melody of wealth. The melodies of wealth. The melody of wealth. The music of wealth. The musics of wealth. The music of wealth. The lyric of wealth. The lyrics of wealth. The lyric of wealth. The song of wealth. The songs of wealth. The song of wealth. The dance of wealth. The dances of wealth. The dance of wealth. The spirit of wealth. the spirits of wealth, the spirit of wealth, the soul of wealth, the souls of wealth, the soul of wealth, the body of wealth, the bodies of wealth, the body of wealth, the mark of wealth, the marks of wealth, the mark of wealth, the promise of wealth, the promises of wealth, the promise of wealth, the visionary of wealth, the visionaries of wealth, the visionary of wealth, the vision of wealth, the visions of wealth, the vision of wealth, the picture of wealth, the pictures of wealth, the picture of wealth, the sound of wealth, the sounds of wealth, the sound of wealth, the tongue of wealth, the tongues of wealth, the tongue of wealth, the language of wealth, the languages of wealth, the language of wealth, the communication of wealth, the communications of wealth, the communication of wealth, the people of wealth, the peoples of wealth, the people of wealth, the society of wealth, the societies of wealth, the society of wealth, the fortress of wealth, the fortresses of wealth, the fortress of wealth, the government of wealth, the governments of wealth, the government of wealth, the city of wealth, the cities of wealth, the city of wealth, the nation of wealth, the nations of wealth, the nation of wealth, the civilization of wealth, the civilizations of wealth, the civilization of wealth, the world of wealth, the worlds of wealth, the world of wealth,